Today, we'll debate, should governments enforce mandatory vaccinations for certain diseases, with Dr. Raj, a public health advocate, and Emily, a libertarian. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Raj, an epidemiologist deeply committed to enhancing public health, particularly in underserved communities. Over my 2-decade career, I've focused on crafting policies that safeguard collective well-being and address the disparities in health outcomes worldwide. I firmly believe in the power of scientific evidence to guide our decisions and the importance of balanced societal responsibilities. While individual freedoms are vital, I've seen firsthand the devastating effects of disease outbreaks and understand that public health sometimes requires difficult compromises. My experience has taught me that goals like achieving herd immunity and protecting vulnerable individuals are essential, ensuring that everyone, irrespective of their circumstances, has a fair chance at a healthy life. I support solutions that equitably enhance our collective health, including policies like mandatory vaccinations when necessary, based on proven successes in eradicating diseases and saving lives.
Thank you. I'm Emily, an entrepreneur and proud libertarian who runs a chain of organic health food stores. I've always believed in the power of individual freedom and personal responsibility, especially when it comes to health decisions. In my business and personal life, I emphasize informed choice, preferring education and dialogue over mandates and coercion. I'm fully supportive of vaccinations. I'm vaccinated myself, and I recognize their importance in maintaining public health. However, I firmly believe in the autonomy of individuals to make their own health choices without government intervention. I worry that mandates can lead to public distrust and resistance. Instead, I advocate for incentivizing voluntary vaccination through education and transparency, ensuring people have access to reliable information to make their own decisions. By respecting individual rights while providing comprehensive information, I believe we can achieve better health outcomes and foster a society that values freedom and responsibility.
Thank you, guys. Dr. Raj and Emily will now present their 3 rounds of arguments.
Absolutely. The core of my argument for mandatory vaccinations lies in the concept of herd immunity. For infectious diseases, reaching a critical threshold of immunity within the population is essential to protect everyone, particularly those who cannot be vaccinated, such as individuals with medical exemptions like severe allergies or compromised immune systems. Historic public health successes, such as the eradication of smallpox and near eradication of polio, underscore the effectiveness of mandatory vaccination policies. These diseases were controlled not just through individual choice, but through widespread, coordinated vaccination efforts that required a collective commitment. In situations where voluntary compliance falls short, mandates ensure that enough people are vaccinated to prevent outbreaks, thereby safeguarding public health. Mandatory vaccinations are not just about individual health, they protect the most vulnerable and help prevent unnecessary illnesses and deaths. This collective approach is essential to addressing public health challenges effectively and equitably.
Certainly, my primary concern with mandatory vaccinations is the infringement on personal freedom and autonomy, which are foundational to a free society. Mandates can inadvertently foster distrust in both vaccines and the institutions that impose these requirements. When people feel coerced, it can lead to resistance and skepticism, undermining public health goals. Instead of mandates, I believe in the power of informed choice. By providing comprehensive education and transparent information about the benefits and safety of vaccines, we empower individuals to make their own health decisions. Community outreach and incentive programs can motivate people to voluntarily choose vaccination without feeling forced. This approach respects individual liberties while still achieving high vaccination rates. Encouraging voluntary compliance through education ensures that people understand and trust the process, thereby strengthening public health in a way that aligns with democratic values.
I appreciate Emily's emphasis on personal liberty and the importance of education in fostering trust and informed decisions about health. However, I'd like to emphasize that in public health, we occasionally face scenarios where individual choices significantly impact the collective. Infectious diseases, unlike most personal health choices, do not just affect the individual, they can have severe consequences for community health. While education and incentives are indeed effective tools, they can sometimes be insufficient, particularly if misinformation spreads or vaccination rates stagnate below the necessary threshold for herd immunity. Mandatory vaccinations, implemented thoughtfully and with public engagement, do not necessarily have to erode trust. They can coexist with comprehensive education initiatives. In fact, mandates might serve as a catalyst for deeper public dialogues about vaccines' importance. Additionally, ensuring that everyone is vaccinated helps protect those who cannot make choices for themselves, such as young children or immunocompromised individuals. Ultimately, balancing individual freedoms with societal responsibilities sometimes requires a firmer public health approach to protect all members of society equitably.
Thank you, Dr. Raj, for highlighting the challenges we face in combating infectious diseases and the importance of protecting vulnerable populations. I agree that education is crucial, but I maintain that it should be the primary focus rather than mandates. Coercive policies can lead to a slippery slope where more and more health decisions are taken out of individuals' hands, eroding personal freedoms over time. Instead, we should aim to engage communities in meaningful conversations about the importance of vaccination, using transparent and evidence-based information that addresses their concerns and questions. Additionally, building trust in vaccines and public health systems is critical, and this trust is cultivated through choice, not coercion. By providing opportunities for people to see the positive impacts of vaccination, and possibly see their neighbors and community leaders as examples, we create an organic push toward higher vaccination rates. These community-led initiatives can be more sustainable and resilient against misinformation. My approach focuses on maintaining a balance, respecting individuals' rights while still prioritizing public health through positive, voluntary measures.
Thank you, Emily, for passionately outlining your perspective on freedom and trust. You make excellent points about the power of community-driven initiatives. Who wouldn't prefer a heartfelt pep talk over a shot in the arm, right? However, while grassroots efforts are crucial, when it comes to infectious diseases, time is of the essence, and the stakes are high. Misinformation spreads faster than your latest superfood smoothie recipe, and unlike trendy diets, the consequences here can be dire and irreversible. Spare us a thought, without mandatory vaccines, we might end up with more outbreaks than my mother-in-law's baking experiments. Joking aside, a balance is essential. We cannot rely solely on voluntary measures when data shows that mandates can effectively close the gap where education may sometimes falter. Think of it as the backup generator when someone's got their juicer plugged in. It's a safety net for societal health. In summary, while I appreciate the preference for voluntary actions, the urgency and potential severity in some public health scenarios necessitate a firmer approach to ensure the health and safety of everyone. We can continue to bolster education, but history recommends we keep that backup generator handy for when it counts most.
Thank you, Dr. Raj, for the perspective and, may I say, your generator analogy that lights up this conversation. You're right, the stakes with diseases are high, faster acting than rush hour traffic, no doubt. Yet, let's pause before switching the whole grid to mandatory measures. Imagine the backlash, bigger than the avocado toast trend, I assure you. People don't like being bossed around unless it's by a yoga instructor with a soothing playlist. Mandatory vaccinations might plug the gap temporarily, but forceful measures can often make people dig their heels in deeper. After all, humans are the only species where convincing someone to do something involves them wanting to do anything but. Instead, let's equip people with the remote control of informed choice. Trust can be fragile, and when people feel they are trusted to make the right decision, they might surprise us and tune in more willingly. To sum up, let's keep that generator ready but rely more on building robust, informed networks that want to power the health of their community voluntarily. Transparency and engagement, that's the real power surge.
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Dr. Raj and Emily.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex, and I'm a secondary school teacher with a vested interest in public health and education. Thanks for the lively debate. My question is for Dr. Raj. While discussing the merits of mandatory vaccinations, could you shed some light on how you would address the potential for socioeconomic disparities in access to vaccines? How can mandatory policies ensure equitable implementation across diverse communities, ensuring nobody is left behind, especially those who might already face challenges in accessing healthcare?
Thank you for the question, Alex. You raise an essential point about ensuring equitable access as part of mandatory vaccination policies. Addressing socioeconomic disparities is critical to both the fairness and effectiveness of such measures. To ensure equitable implementation, we must take proactive steps like investing in infrastructure that supports healthcare accessibility in underserved areas. This includes mobile clinics, partnerships with local community organizations, and even setting up vaccination sites in schools or community centers where families are already engaged. Additionally, policies should include provisions for free or low-cost vaccinations to eliminate financial barriers, supplemented by public transport solutions for those with mobility challenges. Furthermore, community engagement is key. Working closely with community leaders to understand cultural and logistical hurdles and tailoring communication strategies accordingly ensures that everyone is reached and informed. By integrating these elements into vaccination policies, we can harness the broad benefits of mandatory vaccinations while addressing disparities effectively, ensuring nobody is left out of crucial public health advancements.
Hello again, everyone. I have another question, this time for Emily. While you've spoken about the importance of informed choice and voluntary measures, how do you propose we address situations in which misinformation significantly impacts vaccination rates? What role do you see for public figures or influencers in shaping public perception, and how can they be enlisted effectively to counter misinformation and encourage trust in vaccines?
Thank you for the question, Alex. Misinformation is indeed a significant challenge, and tackling it requires a multifaceted approach. Firstly, I believe that education systems should incorporate robust health literacy programs, enabling individuals from a young age to critically assess information and make informed choices. Public figures and influencers can play a pivotal role in this landscape. By leveraging their platforms, they can amplify accurate information and share personal stories that resonate with their audiences. The key is to ensure these figures are well informed themselves and genuinely committed to promoting public health. We could collaborate with influential voices, be it celebrities, local leaders, or even respected healthcare professionals, to create engaging, relatable content that reaches various demographics. Moreover, fostering partnerships between public health officials and popular media channels can help disseminate factual information in a digestible format. By creating a narrative that balances scientific accuracy with everyday relevance, we can more effectively combat misinformation and build trust, encouraging people to consider vaccination voluntarily.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion.
Reflecting on our discussion, one aspect I regret not emphasizing more is the role of adaptive policy in vaccination mandates. While the conversation often revolves around the binary of mandatory versus voluntary, the reality is that public health strategies can and should be flexible. Policies could be designed with built-in periodic reviews and adjustments based on current data, public compliance, and vaccine uptake rates. This approach would allow mandates to be responsive to the evolving landscape of public health needs and community responses, rather than rigid or one-size-fits-all. I believe it's crucial to convey that public health interventions can be dynamic, adapting to the context and sentiments of the communities they aim to protect. By focusing on adaptive strategies, we can work towards more balanced solutions, respecting individual freedoms while safeguarding public health effectively. It's this middle ground where we might find the greatest success and acceptance, ultimately ensuring that our health policies are socially and scientifically sound.
Looking back at our discussion, I regret not highlighting the importance of grassroots community involvement in public health initiatives. While I've emphasized informed choice and voluntary measures, I could have talked more about how empowering local communities to play a more active role in health education and advocacy can lead to better outcomes than top-down approaches. Community leaders, local organizations, and even small businesses like mine have the potential to deeply understand and address the specific concerns and barriers that different communities face regarding vaccinations. These groups are already trusted sources of information, and when they lead vaccination advocacy, it often resonates more effectively than external mandates. By investing in local health champions and facilitating workshops or community events, we can create an environment where the decision to vaccinate is informed by local values and needs, thereby increasing both trust and uptake rates. Ultimately, incorporating community-centric strategies into health initiatives strengthens the message, builds trust, and ensures that public health efforts are both inclusive and effective. It's about creating a supportive atmosphere where individuals feel empowered to make health decisions that align with their values and community norms.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges.
Scoring parameters. 1. Clarity and articulation. How clearly and effectively each participant presents their arguments. 2. Engagement with opponent. The ability to listen and respond thoughtfully to the opponent's arguments. 3. Persuasiveness and logical reasoning. How persuasive a participant is in supporting their stance with logical arguments and evidence. Dr. Raj's scores. 1. Clarity and articulation. 9 out of 10. Dr. Raj presented his arguments clearly, using data and historical examples to articulate the importance of mandatory vaccinations. His points were well structured and easy to follow, which effectively communicated his stance on public health priorities. 2. Engagement with opponent. 8 out of 10. Dr. Raj demonstrated strong engagement by acknowledging Emily's points and respectfully providing counterarguments. His use of humor added a positive dynamic to the debate and showed he was attentive, though there was room to explore more nuanced engagement. 3. Persuasiveness and logical reasoning. 8 out of 10. Dr. Raj skillfully combined evidence and logical reasoning to support his claim about the effectiveness and necessity of mandatory vaccinations. However, incorporating adaptive policy strategies earlier could have further strengthened his position. Emily's scores. 1. Clarity and articulation. 9 out of 10. Emily communicated her perspective on personal freedom and informed choice with clarity and passion. Her arguments were well structured and effectively conveyed her belief in education over mandates, making her stance easy to understand. 2. Engagement with opponent. 9 out of 10. Emily demonstrated excellent engagement by thoughtfully addressing Dr. Raj's points while maintaining respect and using humor to lighten the discussion. Her ability to incorporate Dr. Raj's arguments into her responses highlighted her attentiveness. 3. Persuasiveness and logical reasoning. 8 out of 10. Emily made a strong case for voluntary vaccination measures, effectively using logical reasoning and practical solutions like community engagement. A deeper exploration of grassroots initiatives could have enhanced the persuasiveness of her argument further. Overall evaluation. Both participants delivered compelling arguments and engaged in the debate respectfully. Dr. Raj excelled in clarity and using evidence to support his case, while Emily was particularly strong in engagement and presenting a convincing case for personalized choice. Each utilized humor effectively, making the debate engaging and accessible.
What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see AI's debate next? Keep questioning.